What's up, boys? Today we made about $900 just looking at some candlesticks. So I'll be going over today's price action as well as the trade I took and how I made that amount of money. So starting on the higher time frame, you can see that on the higher time frame, you can see that our draw is this weekly intermediate term low since we edged it, and I'm most likely going to be pretty confident that we're at least going to sweep it before we ultimately reverse out of this area. However, coming into today, you can see that we're kind of just pumping in a straight line. We were inside this 4-hour bearish fair value gap, but you can see we were getting absolutely no reaction from it. Therefore, my idea coming into open was low-key just to continue this bullish trend off this 1-hour bullish fair value gap. But let's say we wanted to sweep out this intermediate term low inside this 4-hour gap. Then if we wanted to respect this 4-hour gap and then create some lower time frame bearish gaps, then I'll be down to use those lower time frame bearish gaps to target this 1-hour bullish gap below. But ultimately, I didn't really want to short until I got really good confirmation. You can see coming into open, I forgot what we exactly do, but yeah, so we go a little lower here. You can see that now we're kind of just starting to respect this 4-hour gap, and then we open up this 5-minute gap right over here. Now at this point, this 5-minute gap would low-key be my condition. Obviously, if we would run through it, then I'll be open to taking longs up to, maybe just going for a 1-to-1. But if we were to respect this gap, then I was down to target this 1-hour bullish gap below. Since obviously this 1-hour gap was unmitigated and it was a pretty strong draw in liquidity. You can see here at this point, since we had this 5-minute gap, I'm kind of just waiting for price to tap this 5-minute gap. As you can see, somewhere over here, we tap it right over here. And at this point, our highest time frame inversion in the manipulation leg would be this 3-minute right here. Therefore, if this gap inverse, I would obviously take a short position. However, once this gap inverse, you can see that the RR for this trade was absolutely horrible. It gave you like a 113 point stop loss, and it's just not a good trade to take, especially when your stop loss is that big. So what I did is I kind of told myself, if we were to retrace somewhere around this zone, somewhere over here, possibly inside this 1-minute gap, then I would enter as long as we didn't tap our break-even spot, which was this internal low. Since if we would tap this internal low, it would completely invalidate our trade idea, since we would be inside a 30-minute bullish fair value gap, which is a possible rejection point for price. And as you can see, a few candles later, I think it was like actually the next candle, yeah. So we tapped the 1 minute right over here, and at this point, I entered a short position. I think I got filled in somewhere over here. I put my stop loss at the swing high, and then I targeted this 1-hour gap below, I believe, or just a 1-to-1. I kind of forgot exactly, but I believe it was just a 1-to-1. And as you can see, after this, price actually rips up. We put in a bearish SMT at these highs since ES sweeps them out and NQ doesn't. And at that point, you can see that after this SMT, we pretty much dump straight to take profit. So this is again why I emphasize keeping your stop loss at the swing high. Because if you keep it at the swing high, an SMT could save you. A rejection block could save you. You have so much extra protection just keeping your stop loss at the swing high or swing low. Now, obviously, if you did run tight stops, that's completely fine too, since this was a V-shaped recovery. And at this point, this really didn't make sense. Like, we didn't have to remanipulate. We did remanipulate, and obviously, I got saved. But obviously, price did not need to remanipulate since we got this V-shaped recovery with a clear, strong draw and liquidity below. But yeah, that was the trade I took today. Obviously, we had that sponsored delivery out of this 5-minute gap. And this gap was obviously sponsored by the 4-hour gap above. And then we got that V-shaped recovery out of the gap, with a clear strong draw and liquidity right below being this 1-hour bullish fair value gap, which ultimately made my stop loss way more protected than where I was targeting. And I also forgot to add, but we also had LRL at these lows to target when we were taking this trade, making my take profit at a very low resistance point. And that's really all it is when you're taking a trade. It's just having a protected stop loss and you're targeting some sort of low resistance liquidity, whether that's trendline liquidity or some type of higher time frame gap, higher time frame intermediate term low or high, etc. And then after that trade played out, you can see that we actually did respect this 1-hour gap. And then afterwards, I believe we got like a 4-minute IFVG, I think it was. Somewhere over here, so you can see that right over here, we inversed this 4-minute gap, invalidating that bearish structure across all these legs. Therefore, it kind of made sense if price wanted to go higher and then flush out this LR. Now, I was off the charts by now since I already got my win, but I believe if you did take this trade, this was pretty solid. Obviously, you had your delivery from your 1-hour gap, you had your V-shaped recovery, and then you had your draws above. So honestly, this trade was like equal with the 5-minute continuation that I took. I believe both setups were really good, and it didn't really matter which one you took. Kind of beautiful how we get that beautiful delivery from external to internal, and then we get delivery from internal back up to external. And then that's it for today, since pretty much after we just had low probability conditions, and then I believe over here we kind of just went lower and then just started chopping. So this kind of proves how you should be trading during this time window, during New York kill zone time, instead of this time window during like lunchtime. And that's it for today's price action recap. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. And if you want to join my free Discord community, the link is in my bio.